Things that we've been talking about on this channel, my subscribers and myself, now the analysts are talking about it. Very strange, but for the last 2 years, we've been saying the same thing on this channel. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, The Wealthy Mindset. It's yours truly, Money Making Mitch. And as usual, guys, this is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence and research. Let's start with this. BYD surpassed Tesla for the first time in Europe. BYD is up 169% year over year, while Tesla is down 49% year over year. Very strange. Seems that a certain YouTuber were talking about this. Oh yeah, that's right, myself. But anyway, I also did some research and found out that NVIDIA is not the one making the chip, the God chip for NIO. How do I know that? Is because NVIDIA does not have the capabilities. You heard me right. They do not have the capabilities to make 5 nanometer chips. So it's either Samsung or TSMC, as they are the only global players capable of 5 nanometer production. Samsung is cheaper but have limited options. So most likely it could be both of them. It could be Samsung and TSMC, or it could just be TSMC, but we know for sure it's not NVIDIA. Now, we were talking about after 8 years, how much is a Tesla worth? Well, Tesla battery replacement costs 220,000 yuan more than vehicle's residual value. With the large-scale popularization of new energy vehicles, the first batch of early adopters are gradually facing a practical problem. See, a hard head makes a soft, well, you know what. And they get carried away by, the aura, the lies spewed by the CEO, Elon Musk, and they just grabbed up the cars. And I remember talking to a guy about this a couple years ago, and he said, oh, they will always sell. He said, in fact, he buy used cars and sell them over. I said, but you're selling junk. After 8 years, he says, I don't care. If they want to buy it, they can buy it. So he knew that. The dealerships knew that, but they kept selling them. Just like now with Xpeng and Xiaomi and BYD and the rest of them, they will all run in, their customers will run into the same problem. And customer experience dictates that when you have a bad experience, you don't go back to that manufacturer. This is why I've always said this is a long game. Well, here's what's happening. Early adopters are gradually facing a practical problem. The battery life is running out. Surprise, surprise. And the cost of repair or replacement is astonishingly high. Surprise, surprise. The first batch of car owners will face battery replacement. Recently, and see, with a NIO, and I've spoken about this before, you have battery swapping. When you sell that used car to UXIN, you can rent the battery from CATL. The partnership was signed, so the car will retain value. Not so with any of the other EV companies, except for the ones that are joining us. Excuse me, guys, and we'll be making battery swap enabled models this year, like Chery, Chang'an, Geely, SAIC, just to name a few. They will also survive because their EV will retain value due to adopting our business model and teaming up with us. It says the high cost of battery replacement on social media platforms sparking widespread discussions in China. According to relevant regulations from the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, since 2016, automakers have been required to provide a warranty period of 8 years or 120,000 kilometers for core components such as power batteries. In other words, the first batch of new energy vehicles are now gradually entering the post-warranty period. And the cost of repairs will have to be done by the car owner themselves. So now their car is worth zero hero, and they have to take it to the junkyard. Tesla owners have shared their battery quotation slips. For example, a Tesla Model S owner shared his experience with an 8.5-year-old car. The original range of 400 kilometers has dropped to 100 kilometers. He can barely make it to the grocery store. After inspection, he was told that repairing the battery will cost 160,000 yuan. Yes, you heard that right. While replacing the entire battery pack would be as high as 220,000 yuan, a price that is enough to buy a new car. This is why when some people came on my channel and said, I am invested in both and I keep buying Tesla at $500 a share. Yes, you will see what's happening and coming for them. This has put many car owners in a dilemma. On one hand, they are reluctant to spend a large sum of money on battery repairs, fearing that the effect will be limited and the battery will continue to degrade in a short time. On the other hand, they want to sell the car, but the value of the vehicle is greatly reduced due to battery aging, and the second-hand market is almost deserted. You see, the cost of the car is greatly reduced. This is the reason why Toyota was the number one, because of they held and they retained value. It's a very reliable car, great technology. Now it's the age of NIO. Why is replacing a battery so expensive? The reason is straightforward. The power battery is the heart of a new energy vehicle, and it accounts for 40% or even more of the total vehicle price. For example, the cost of replacing a blade battery for a BYD Han, which is priced at 180,000 yuan, is 140,000 yuan. The new battery pack for Model S ranges from 150 to 220,000 yuan, and even a second-hand battery costs more than 100,000 yuan. So after 8 years, what do you think that BYD cost, guys? Zero. Statistics show that within the next 8 years, nearly 20 million new energy vehicles in China will successfully face the expiration of battery warranty periods. The high threshold for battery replacement discourages many users, directly affecting the vehicle life cycle and residual value. We've said it here, we called it. But a lot of people just love easy money when it comes to the stock market. That's why they used to come on here and say, NIO should just stop building battery swap stations, so there'll be less cash burn. The stock will be pumped up like what Tata Ocean and the rest of them do for other companies. They make some money and they don't care if the stock market crashes, the company crashes after that, people lose their jobs. Other investors who followed them and bought in will lose their money because they don't know when to sell. NIO is following the path of common prosperity where everyone succeeds. This is why NIO will be the number one company in the world, the number one EV company in the world. To alleviate such anxiety, some automakers have begun to explore separation of vehicle and battery solutions. I wonder who is that? The most typical example is NIO, whose BaaS battery as a service model allow users to pay a fixed monthly rent for battery swapping instead of purchasing the battery outright. In this way, users can avoid high replacement costs and the risk of battery degradation, with maintenance and depreciation covered by the automaker. However, the reality is that this kind of model has not yet become the mainstream in the industry, and it is now catching on. As the first batch of new energy vehicles enter the aging stage, the discussion on who is responsible for the battery has only just begun. So the people, the investors, the consumers who have vision and basic common sense and critical thinking skills, not a college degree, will know that you do not buy a car unless it has BaaS, battery as a service, where you don't own the battery, you never have to worry about the battery, and your EV retains value. But the college-educated lad who has no common sense and critical thinking skills will go and buy the Tesla Model S and then realize he's made a mistake. Or the average consumer in America who's willing to pay $36,000 or more for the Model 3, after 8 years realize they have no value. and they've lost their money. So I hope you guys found this video yet again to be informational, inspirational, and motivational. If so, guys, bloop, bloop, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Takes a lot of time to do these videos and the editing. And if you haven't yet subscribed, you might want to think about doing so, because in this channel, we are waking up the middle class for the first time to get a major piece of the pie from the ground level up as to how the game is played on Wall Street. And like 50 said, we get rich or we die trying, guys.